Hi everyone! So I want to go back to having a weekly reading wrap up. Those don't work for me in the sense of I work shifts, so I never really know when I'm going to be free to film them, so I can't really guarantee getting them up on the same day every week, which is something I want to do. So I've decided to make it a reading vlog weekly wrap up. And I'm thinking that should work out easily because it doesn't matter. Because I'll just film a little bit here, a little bit there. All I've got to do is find a few minutes to sort of edit, throw it together and upload it each week. So I'm going to do that and I'm so excited. And sorry if I sound a bit bleh, I'm full of cold. Again, love this time of year when the weather keeps going between hot and freezing. It was 9 degrees the other night. I was actually shivering. I'm filming a video later on where I'll be uploading and sort of explaining some new stuff I've got going on with my reading ideas, because I did poof for a week and I didn't really do any reading at all, and now I'm getting back into it and I've read 2 books. They're about 2 kind of short story book things. So the first one I want to update you on is, when my Goodreads loads, Short Stories from Hogwarts of Heroism, Hardship and Dangerous Hobbies by J.K. Rowling. And I've had this for ages and I've been meaning to pick it up for such a long time, and I'm so glad I've finally had the chance. And this only took me about 45-50 minutes to read, so if you're looking for a quick read in the Harry Potter world especially that you haven't looked at yet, then this is a lovely quick read. And I really enjoyed it. You get really in-depth looks at different characters. So one of them is McGonagall, and I just loved getting to know McGonagall better, like getting to know her parents, the way she was brought up, her own private life outside of working at Hogwarts, and I just really enjoyed it. And it was nice to kind of have a book like that to help pull me out of my reading slump, because the reading slump struggle has been terrible for me this last week and a bit. Last night, I finished Short Stories from Hogwarts of Power, Politics and Pesky Poltergeists, which is the second kind of collection from the Pottermore Presents. And this one talks you through different people, different ministers for magic. You've got a chapter on Peeves. So it's got a bit of a mixed bag. There's a chapter on cauldrons, I think. It's a bit more bizarre than the first one, but I still really enjoyed this one too. I especially enjoyed learning about all the previous ministers for magic and seeing why they lost their jobs, or why they were liked, or why they were disliked, or whether they were mysteriously disappeared or died. It was so much fun. And also everyone's got a secret soft spot for Peeves, so having a chapter about Peeves was just amazing. So I gave this one, and indeed the last book that I mentioned, 5 stars. So I'm hoping this is going to help get me out of my reading slump with a bang, because I'm now reading the 3rd one. I'm going to go and sit and finish reading it in a minute, actually, because I want to feel accomplished finishing a book a day, even if it is short, cheaty ones. So yeah, reading slump is real. I'm hoping to be able to finish this in the next couple of days, because I need to finish this because someone's expecting it back from me. Right now I've read 1 chapter, and that was me really forcing myself to read the other day. So not quite out the slump yet, I don't think. It's just Harry Potter is always easy to throw yourself into, isn't it? I need to focus a bit more and try and get reading other things too. I'm also sorting out my TBR bag, so I'm not sure how much of that reading I will get done today, what with the filming and everything as well, but that's all I can say about the TBR bag, because that is coming up in tonight's video. Tonight being the night that I am filming this, and today is Tuesday. So yeah, Tuesday the 28th of August. Just in case you're watching this and thinking, I didn't see tonight's video, what was that? And only I stop waffling and catch you next time I finish a book. So I just finished Hogwarts, an incomplete and unreliable guide, which is the 3rd and final that I'm aware of anyway, kind of short story collection thing from the Pottermore Presents. And I've also given this one 5 stars. So this one was fantastic because it starts off with how students originally used to get to Hogwarts. Then it talks you through kind of the whole platform 9 3/4 thing, why 9 3/4, why King's Cross, why a train. Then you kind of explore all different ideas around Hogwarts. So you learn more about the ghosts, you learn more about the portraits, more about the Marauders map. It's just absolutely fantastic. It's a great way to just flesh out the world of Harry Potter that bit more. And even though I'm a big Harry Potter fan, I learned something new from these, reading all 3 of these. So I thought it was absolutely great and I highly recommend it. While I remember, I just want to mention that to try and get myself more active on Instagram, because I often forget, I am now trying to update my stories every time I start a book. And I'm also trying to post a really short mini review on my actual main Instagram every time I finish a book. So if you want to track my reading kind of as it happens, make sure you're following me on Instagram. The link is in the description down below. And yeah, I now want to probably work on my video for later on. So I'm not sure if I'll do any more reading today, so I'll catch up with you when I'm reading something else. Hi everyone, so it is now Sunday and I didn't film any more reading update clips, not because I didn't read anything, but because I just didn't get around to talking about everything that I read. So I've already updated you on 3 books. I've read a further 4 books this week, so 4 books in my first weekly reading wrap-up vlog. I am so chuffed and so fed up with people's dogs barking around here. So the next book I have to talk to you about is Learn About Loss, which is the 4th book in the Ghosts of the Shadow Market series by Cassandra Clare. These are short story novellas which follow, I don't really dare say, a certain character which, I really don't know how to say this, it's just like, if you've not read certain parts of the Infernal Devices or the Mortal Instruments, I'd be just spoiling the heck out of you. So I'll have to keep this really brief, but basically it just follows a certain character on his quest for something. And you bump into other, sometimes familiar characters, sometimes new characters along the way, and they're all set generally around the idea of shadow markets. There might be one nearby, or the entire story might be at one. It kind of varies story to story. So this one is the first one that I've given 5 stars to. Normally I don't really give Cassandra Clare's short stories or novellas 5 stars because they usually feel like they're missing something, but this one wasn't for me. This one had a really slow start, which I thought, oh no, this one's going to be the worst one yet. And then it just gave such a kick. There's a new character introduced in this one and I really liked her. I would love to get to know more about her. And the ending is just like, you get to see this character and one of my favourite characters together. And maybe even that's too much. I don't want to say any more about this book. 5 stars, loved it. So then the next thing I read was the 5th one in the series, which is A Deeper Love. And this one focuses more on the loss of a person. Sorry, my eyes are stinging. I had a really late drink heavy night last night and I'm feeling a bit rough. So yeah, this one follows, how to even talk about this one? This one follows some characters that were in the previous one and how they are dealing with the loss of someone, along with another character that we know very well, and then also with, what's her name? Katarina Loss. And she is kind of working in a hospital trying to help people during the Blitz, and there's lots going on, and the blitz scenes of London combined with the magical world was just wonderful. I loved it. I thought it worked really well, and it was such a nice little twist into the stories, and I really enjoyed it. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. There's a lot more to it that I'm not saying, and I'm just gonna have to keep it vague because I won't spoil people. So the next book I read was actually a reread. This is a book I got off NetGalley last year. I read and reviewed last year, gave 5 stars to last year, put in my favourite books of the year, and then decided to reread it this year. So this is Follow Me Back by A.V. Gager. If you've not heard of this, if you've not seen me review it before, I will link my original review in the description and also in the cards so you can check that out. This follows a young girl named Tessa and a pop star named Eric Thorne. This is a YA novel which could be classed as romance, possibly. You could call it contemporary, you could call it a thriller. It's also quite suspenseful. That is a weird combination, but I've got to say, in my case, I think it definitely works. So Tessa has mega anxiety issues. She also is terrified of going outside. It's a big problem for her because of something that has happened to her recently in like the previous months that she won't tell anyone about. It's obviously a very traumatic event, and it is something that I think is very important to discuss, and so it was nice to sort of see in the novel. So this book covers so many things, and while it's fun and suspenseful and a thriller and all that, I also think that it's quite educating because it really teaches you about the boundaries between what is stalking and what is just kind of fangirling. Because Eric Thorne has loads of Twitter followers, and he feels like some of those are just a bit too much. Like they're just like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, but they don't know him. They've never met him. They've never really spoke to him in most cases. And Tessa is a fangirl, but she's not like obsessed. Well, in some ways she is. But she's not obsessed in like a almost stalkery way. But she does write some fan fiction that gets brought to his attention by his manager, and he just absolutely hates this account for it because obviously he doesn't know her, so he can't hate her. But he hates the thought of a person writing this fan fiction. And so he goes and makes himself a separate Twitter account because he's frustrated how he can't do anything on his own account, how his management tried to make him run his Twitter how he wants to, and so he just wants to feel anonymous again. So he creates this other account and actually messages Tessa and tries to put her off Eric Thorne, basically. He's all like, oh yeah, Eric Thorne's such a, can't remember the exact wording, but such a pig and an awful person, and you shouldn't like him, and he loves himself and all this, that and the other. And Tessa's response is just like, whoa, what's your problem? And like, you know what, people are always fighting their own private battles. You don't know what people have got going on in their lives, so be kind always. And that's one of my favourite kind of things that this book brings up, like, be kind always. It takes nothing to be kind. If you can't be kind, just don't say anything at all. Obviously, that only works to a certain extent in this world, and she discovers that herself. But all the same, be sort of mindful of other people. And this book I just love it. It's built up in such a suspenseful way because it starts with like police kind of interviews, and then you get some of the plot thrown in, and then you get more police interviews, you get Twitter conversations, you kind of just get a bit of a mixed bag, and it really helps build up the story into a really climatic ending. And when I read the ending of this book last year, I was so frustrated because it leaves you on a massive cliffhanger. And so the reason why I wanted to reread Follow Me Back is because I had got the final book in the duology, which is Tell Me No Lies. And so I read this straight after I finished Follow Me Back. I read Follow Me Back in one sitting, and I would have read Tell Me No Lies in one sitting if I had had the time. But you know, there's such a thing called sleep that you have to have occasionally. So this one picks up pretty much exactly where the last book left off. Obviously, I can't really tell you any major details about it, but it does cover similar themes, so like stalking, the pressures of the music industry and how wrong certain aspects of that probably are. I felt like we were getting quite an accurate insight into what the music industry would be like. Meanwhile, you get more of an insight into Tessa's anxieties, her family life and how that might not have helped, and so much more. And also the pressures of social media and also the importance of social media, and to not give out too much information and be mindful of even the slightest little thing, because people can find you from it. And yeah, I just thought that this was an excellent finale to the series. I gave this one 4 stars, and I'm not sure what else I can say here without being spoilery, but the reason why this one didn't get 5 stars is I just didn't think it was quite as good as Follow Me Back. It was still excellent. It tied up all the loose ends. I was left with no questions at the end. It felt nicely rounded off. It felt like if the author wanted to revisit these characters at any point, then she could write another book, but you don't need one. And I think she's always sort of suggested that she would never write a 3rd book, so this has been ended beautifully, really satisfyingly, and was just a wonderful book. So yeah, I've had an excellent reading week for my first reading vlog week. Even if I did fail at the vlogging side of things a bit, and updates, at least I really kind of managed to get a lot of reading done. I feel like I'm back in the swing of reading. I've cut my Goodreads goal up quite a bit. I'm only 11 books behind now, so I'm doing it really well. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me. Drop me a comment down below if you've read any of these, if you want to read any of these and what you have read this week, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.